Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
You want to announce this, Lorin, as soon as I say we're live?
Yep.
Okay, we are live.
We are live, Randy. It's Lorin Nicholson coming to you this time from Sydney, Australia. I've moved a little south, and of course, we've got good Randy over there in the US of A.
Yeah, right here in the Washington, D.C. area, and it's morning for me, just after 6 o'clock. And what are you, 10 p.m.?
It's evening for me on Tuesday evening. So you're just starting the day, and I'm just finishing the day.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
I can't
it's
believe
quite
it.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a huge Christmas New Year season, and it's been a few weeks since we've spoken to everyone. So great to be back again.
Yeah.
And this episode of Get Motivated is really about the whole concept of being self-motivated, finding or showing that initiative, which can sometimes be a real hardship for people. I think people sit there and they dream about it and they think about it, and there are a number of reasons why they don't ever quite get around to actually doing it. And that's finding that mojo, that self motivation to get up and do it is often one of the big barriers, isn't it? From
Yeah.
for people reaching their goal or getting out of their rut or getting themselves going or overcoming some sort of a challenge.
It's interesting
So,
because motivation is, people a lot of times will say to themselves, well, I'll do it when I feel motivated. But the fact is that motivation is a limited commodity, really. It's going to take, you just have to get into action, and then you get more motivated as you get into action. So
well,
interesting.
it's interesting you raise that too, Randy, because often, and I'll just maybe highlight a few reasons why we don't get motivated, or maybe the three things that do. Probably more importantly, the three things that do often motivate us to pick ourselves up and actually do something. And so let me go through a couple of those things, and you might, anyone listening might identify one or more or all of these in their own life. And one of the things that motivates us to do something is pain, or discomfort, or we're being put out. So, and the classic example might be you're sitting there watching the Super Bowl, and while you're sitting there, it's raining outside and there's a roof leak and it's leaking down into your room, and but the drip of water is dripping right into your bathtub. And so, there's no pain, it's not causing any problems really if it's falling into the bathtub. But what if you were sitting there watching the Super Bowl, and or in our case the footy, and then all of a sudden that drip is dripping right down onto the back of your TV set or onto your lounge or onto your head.
Mhm.
All of a sudden it's like, oh, man, I got to do something about this. And so sometimes that pain or discomfort is a real motivating force to get us up and to solve. Look, I've been meaning to fix that leak, or I've been meaning to do that job, and it's finally got to a point where it's annoying me enough that I need to do something. So that's number one. Number two is, I guess, well, it could be either concern or love or care, or for someone or for something. So if it's, if someone hurts one of your kids or they're upset, well, of course you care about them, and so you feel motivated, self-motivated, to get up. Well, I think I better go and help them out. Or if your car's sitting out in the driveway and it looks like a big hailstorm coming through, well, you're going to go outside and move your car because it's motivated you to do something, because you obviously love the car and you don't want to get him damaged. So
Yeah.
that's number two. But you know what? Even if those two things are really bothering you, the pain or the concern or the love or whatever, if you don't if you aren't adequately able to solve this third thing, then you might not even have enough motivation to do the first two, and that is hope. And so what I mean by that is, well, let's say you're sitting there and the roof's leaking. You're like, yeah, but I don't know how to fix it. I don't have the tools. I don't know how to do it. It doesn't matter how much pain you're in, or whether whether it's affecting the kids or the dog or your lounge or your TV or whatever. It doesn't matter, because you don't have the skills or the know-how to do it, and so you lose hope. And so, we need to get ourselves skilled up, or surround ourselves with people, or find someone that's capable, or who does have the tools and the skills that can either do it for you or to help you learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And I know that as a blind person, there are things I've got to rely on other people to help me out with, because it's, as independent as I am and as I want to be, it's obviously not practical. And I've got to say, hey, can you give me a lift in the car? Can you drive me down to the shop? Or, and if it's someone trying to maybe lose weight, well, they might not know how to do that. And so you teach them some strategies and skills that will help them to do it. And then all of a sudden, all of those facets of becoming self-motivated and seem to be solved with that. So
let me share something about
have you found that?
Too. Because when it comes to losing weight, a lot of times, just this will apply to a lot of things in life, but a lot of times people don't have the trust that they can actually do it. But as a coach, I help people, if they just have a glimmer of hope, like, wow, you've been able to do it, and so then they trust in me as the coach that they can actually do it. Sometimes people just have to have trust like that, and then they learn on their own that, wow, this really can work for me. So just wanted to share that really quick when you mentioned that, losing weight.
And that's probably even a fourth thing, isn't it? Component of that, I think, it's the support. And that, you're right. I mean, I think it's one thing to maybe do it for someone, but some things you can't do for them. But if you can help them to do it for themselves, it really empowers them. And we've had it happen to us, and people listening have probably had it happen to them at some stage. But yeah, it's a powerful motivator.
Yeah.
Enables you to get up. And now it's interesting when you do that and you've had that experience, it gets easier next time, and even easier the time after that, to where it just becomes an almost unconscious effort to actually to do what might have been very difficult, if not even impossible, when you first attempted it.
Yeah, and part of that too is that when you're first starting out, it's one thing, but to have something be successful for the long term, we have to change our habits. But there's the whole thing about there's two different kinds of motivation. There's extrinsic motivation, where something is happening to you. It's an outside type thing. And there's intrinsic motivation. And I wanted to share something about that just a little bit, like the difference between the two. Like extrinsic motivation is like maybe you're reading a book because you got to prepare for a test. But the intrinsic motivation would be reading the book because you really enjoy reading books or enjoy the storytelling part of it. Or maybe extrinsic would be exercising, to the weight loss thing, exercising to lose weight. Or intrinsic would be exercising because you really want to relieve stress. So, and then there's another thing too that just happens innately. There's and I'll post the link to this YouTube video when we finish, but there's a certain mountain goat called the ibex that defies gravity to get salt. And I was watching this video, and it will scale a nearly vertical wall little by little to get clear to the top, to be able to lick the salt coming out of the rock, because it needs it for its bodily functions. And what's amazing is the little goat kids will follow them up there. And in the video, you'll see it, and they start to slip, but somehow, if you look from the side of the top all the way down, it looks like they're climbing a vertical wall. But they actually do it, and it's like they're defying gravity. It's just an amazing thing. But that motivation is a part of their DNA. They need the salt to survive. So to your point, a lot of times we do things because we just have to. You got to eat, got to eat to live.
Yeah, that's right. But it's a purpose, isn't it? I think ultimately with a lot of this, it's just finding your purpose, finding your meaning. And it needs to be important to you. whatever it is that you are attempting to do, and whether that be finishing or even commencing a maybe university studies, or whether it be losing weight, or whether it be learning how to play guitar like me, or it's if it's important to you, you'll set other things aside, put them aside. And we've spoken about this, I think, in previous episodes, where you make the sacrifice and you put things aside in order to achieve the goal. And you can see how all of these concepts kind of dovetail together to enable us to be more self-reliant and more independent and more capable of achieving something and finding happiness in doing it.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing how so many things work together, and in our quest for excellence or whatever wanting to create in our lives, we have to be ready to ask for help from other people. Because when we're kids, and Lorin, maybe this is the same for you. When I was a kid and I was taking piano lessons, it's just what you did. You go to your teacher, and they're going to work with you, and you really think about that. But as adults, to go back and take piano lessons again, or to start off to learn how to play guitar or piano, having never done it before. As an adult, we've got all these concepts with time and all these other things that are part of our lives, and we think that we can't do it. But when we're a kid, you don't really think about that stuff. You just kind of go and do what they tell you to do, and then, wow, I'm getting better at it. Interesting.
You do. It goes back a little bit, I think, to that extrinsic and intrinsic motivation you're talking about. At first, I think when you're a kid, like I was, it's your teacher or your parents that say, "Hey, have you done your practice yet?" There's this extrinsic motivation to, "Hey, Lorin, have you done your practice yet?" But isn't it a great thing? And if you've ever, if you're a parent particularly, or a coach or a mentor, when you see somebody finally reach that point where they kind of do it, not because you've asked them to do it, but because, you know what, I actually love playing guitar. I'm going to pick this thing up and play it, and it becomes an intrinsic experience for them, and just a part of their life. They become very much more self-motivated to do it.
Well, that's right. And
you see that transition.
The idea is, how many things in life can we do in a more beautiful and fulfilling way if we learn to have things become an intrinsic motivation for wanting to do it? Just because I want to have a better life, I want to feel better, I want to live longer, I want to spend more time with my kids and my grandkids. Those are good reasons to do things, rather than just because somebody else expects us to, or again, the difference between extrinsic and intrinsic. And again, really quick, intrinsic motivation behaviors is the reward of the activity itself. And with an extrinsic motivation thing, it's something that's happening to us. So I love what we're talking about today, Lorin, and I hope everybody out there leaves today feeling a little bit empowered that we can accomplish more things as we learn to do things for a reason that's important to us, not just because somebody else wants us to, but because we truly feel this is something that I really want to do. So I just wanted to share that real quick as we close up today.
That's awesome, Randy. Hey, I'm enjoying myself. I think you're enjoying yourself, Randy. We hope everyone else is. And, we look forward to catching up, Randy and I. This is as much for our own enjoyment, having a chat together. It's really fun having a chat with you, Randy.
Really, chit chat.
Yeah, it is good fun. All right. Well, we hope everyone else is having fun too. We'll catch you all again next week, I hope, or in a couple of weeks.
Yep. All right.
Have a great Valentine's Day too, coming up next week, isn't it?
This weekend. Week, you guys, and enjoy your Valentine's Day, and don't go too crazy. All right.
All right.
See y'all later. All right. Bye-bye.